Hello and welcome to this lovely energizing Pilates, which will be done in a really calm, relaxing way. So lots of stretches, mobility, a little bit of strength, just a nice way to start your day basically. So grab your mat, get a little bit of space and let's get ready to go. By the way, if we haven't met before, my name is Emma and I am still registered blind, if you didn't know. So my guide dog is at the side, but there's a gorgeous sun patch that he's found, so he probably won't join us, we'll see. But let's get ready to go. I will try to audio describe everything in as much detail as possible so that it's easy for blind and visually impaired people to follow along with too. But we're gonna start standing. So, this is a great routine as well to find lovely awareness and it's just, well, hopefully it's gonna be a nice one and you enjoy it. So let's start with our feet, nice and parallel, in line with the bony parts of the hips at the front. So they're actually quite narrow. And we're gonna stand lovely and tall. Take a moment to take a deep breath in. And I want you to send that air through the entire body, the rib cage, the belly, all the way up to the head. And as you breathe out, maybe close down your eyes or simply come into a soft gaze. And take a moment to really connect with your other senses, if you're able to, switching off your main visual sense. Taking a moment to notice the mat underneath your feet and whether there's equal weight through all parts of the feet. So take a little rock forwards for me. Feel the heels ever so slightly lifting away from the mat. And then shift the weight back and lift all 10 toes. And just find somewhere where that weight sits perfectly in the middle. Maybe we can grow a little taller through the spine, find a little more length. Notice the weight through the arms. It's nice and relaxed. Your arms are like rag dolls, nice and heavy by your side. Allowing your shoulder blades to draw away from the ears. Just take a moment to maybe tune in to the sounds around you, the temperature of the room and you. Really connecting with our other senses. Maybe there's a nice smell around food, or I haven't really got a smell in this studio, but anyway. Continue to breathe wide and full. Let's breathe a little wider though and fuller into our rib cage so that when we exhale, we can pull our belly button away from our clothing and find that lovely core contraction. Blink your eyes open if you're ready to and take a big sweep of the arms all the way up, reaching for the sky. Face the palms away from you. Bend the elbows down to shoulder height and see if you can lift your chest a little higher. Doing this little back bend through the upper back, not the lower back. Reach the arms all the way up and start to dive forwards, up and over the legs, letting the arms reach over the legs. As you imagine peeling off of a sticky wall, bone by bone. Maybe reaching to your toes, maybe it's halfway, wherever feels best. And then roll back up, softening the knees, sending your tailbone towards the heels. We're restacking bone by bone. Head is the last to come up. Sweep the arms up again, take that lovely deep breath in. Shoulders away from the ears, palms facing out. As we draw the elbows down by our side to shoulder height, lifting our chest. Reach the arms up and dive forwards this time. Coming down about halfway. Placing the hands above the knees and bend the knees just a little bit so you've got this nice softness through them. And the weight that is on the legs is really light through the hands, so barely putting any weight at all into the legs. Round your spine all the way up, tucking your tail and your head under, creating this lovely rounded shape for your back. And then go the opposite way and let's lift the chest, lift the tailbone. And then round up again, just do that a few more times. So when I come down to the mat, when I do the cat stretches down on the mat, you can always come back to this option if there's any wrist or knee pain. That's the great thing about Pilates and anything we do. I've learned that from being blind, that you have to adapt. And we can always tweak things to work for us. When you're ready, reach down to your toes and start to bend and straighten the legs. As you bend the knees, let the hands reach to the floor a little more, and then straighten the legs and try to keep reaching down to the mat, finding a little stretch through the back of the legs. Good. When you're ready, either carry on with that. I'm going to tie my hair up. It's already sticking to me. It's like 35 degrees in the studio. You can either carry on with the knee bends there, or bring yourself right to the back of the mat so the length of the mat is in front of you. And this time, walk the hands out, coming up into a down dog or up stretch. And you can bend and straighten the knees here. I'm sliding on the mat, so I'm having to scrunch my hands up a little more. So with that down dog, I'm going to rest down because I'm literally just sliding on the mat. With that down dog, your arms are shoulder width. You're trying to get your chest, your head in line with your arms. Your hips are being picked up towards the ceiling. And you're either bending, straightening the legs, or maybe pedaling through the feet. When you're ready, come down to the mat with the knees. And we're going to come in and out of a lovely cat stretch again. Maybe you're doing this standing. Hands are spread nice and wide, directly underneath the shoulders, shoulder width apart. Knees are underneath the hips, hip distance apart. And you're simply rounding your spine up, creating this little archway, this little tunnel. And then creating this lovely hammock, what reaches from one end of the room to the other. And then find somewhere in the middle. So find a nice flat back for me. You can adjust by coming up onto the forearm, down onto the forearms, up onto the fists, adding extra padding, whatever you need. And we're going to extend our right leg long behind us. So we're going to tuck our toes under as we've extended that leg back. And we're going to shift the weight back off of the wrists and push the heel of the lengthened leg down to the floor. And then shift the weight over the wrists, roll onto the top of the foot and point the foot. The foot stays in contact with the floor. We shift the weight back, pressing the heel down to the floor. And then we shift forwards and we're just getting this lovely stretch for our calf muscles. Good. And then stop where the weight is equal through the hands and the knee that's on the floor. Flex your foot of the back leg and lift the leg up towards hip level and tap it down, slightly activating through those glutes, making sure we're not sinking into the back. And as we do this, feel the length of the front of the hip opening out as we lift and lower down. Lift and lower. This time, step the leg through. Hug it into your chest. And you can balance on the toes and just give that leg a little hug. So you can wrap your left hand around that right leg that's hugged in and curve over the leg, giving yourself a little squeeze. Continue to step that leg now through. So that front leg, that right leg is stepped now in between the hands. And your hands are resting each side of that front leg. Really feel the foot planting into the mat and the mat supporting you. And the knee is stacked on top of the hip. And the knee, yeah, it's stacked on top. I was thinking, have I done it the wrong way around? From here, we're going to sweep our right arm in front. We're going to open the arm up to the ceiling as our upper body and chest twists to look up towards that hand. The arm comes all the way around by our side and we place it back by the side of that front leg. So we go again, we sweep the arm in front, we open the chest out as the arm circles back behind us. The arm continues to go around and in front. Just give me that one more time. You may want to tuck the toes under of the back leg and straighten that leg, lifting the knee off of the floor as well. But otherwise here, good. From there, lift nice and tall. That right leg is still in front and see if you can find this lovely lifted position. You might need to hold a wall and that's okay. Slightly tucking the tailbone under. The back knee is still underneath the hip. You're in this kind of proposal position. We're going to do what we did standing, and we're going to sweep the arms up by the side of our ears. We're going to face the palms away from us, draw the elbows down, open out through the chest. Reach the arms back up, and this time as we dive forwards, we're going to lengthen our front leg out, shifting the weight back. So we're resting on the heel of the front leg, coming into this lovely hamstring stretch. Front leg is now straightened as we sit back. We shift that weight forwards, hands are by the side of the front leg, and then we restack back up and we go again. We lift the arms up by the side of the ears, palms face out. We draw the elbows down, and again, you may be doing this standing. We dive forwards, up and over, straightening that front leg, folding over into our hamstring stretch. Place the hands either side of that leg, shift the weight forwards, and from there, step that front leg back. Bring your big toes together, open the knees to the width of the mat, and sit back into your wide leg child's pose. Just taking a moment to breathe. In through the nose, and out through the mouth. Letting the chest, the arms open as you lower your chest to the floor, feeling that connection of the big toes together. And then let's come back up and let's do the other side. So back to your box, or maybe a standing cat. You could be doing this standing, pressing against a wall. This time, slide your left leg back, tuck your toes and shift the weight back and forth. So you're pressing towards the heel as you shift the weight off of the wrists. You shift the weight over the wrists and point the foot, rolling onto the top of the foot. Feeling those lovely calf muscles. Good, find somewhere in the middle where the weight is nice and equal through the hands. You've got a nice flat back. Flex the foot so the toes point down, or to the floor. And lift that back leg up to hip level and lower. If you can lift it a little more without your back sinking, so we don't want to sink into the back, then do. Feel both hip bones facing down to the floor. And just notice the weight underneath the hands being nice and equal. On this next one, round your knee all the way into your nose, tucking your toes under maybe to give you more support. As you round your spine over that front leg, maybe wrap your right arm over that front leg, the shin at the front, and give it an extra hug in. Step that left foot in between the hands at the front so the sole of the foot is on the floor, ankle is underneath the knee. And just find a moment here to feel this lovely opening through those hip flexors. Maybe the back toes are tucked under and the back knee is lifted for a deeper stretch. Take your left arm, sweep it in front, opening the chest, circling the arm back and behind you, feeling that lovely chest opener. Bring the arm back round by the side of the leg and then go again, sweep the arm in front, circle it up to the ceiling, open the chest as it goes back behind you, almost like you're looking back towards the arm, whether you can see it or not, and come back. One last time. I can't really see my arm as it circles back, but I know it's there. Place the hand back in front and walk up so you're in that proposal position, lifting tall. If you need to hold onto the wall at all, that's fine. The front foot is still underneath the knee, the back knee is underneath the hip. And let's take this lovely sweep of the arms all the way up by the side of the ears. From there, bend the elbows, open the chest like we did at the beginning. We're going to reach the arms all the way up, fold, diving over the leg as you shift your hips back, straightening the front leg, feeling your hamstrings. Take a moment to breathe into it. Shift the weight forwards as the front knee bends again. And let's roll all the way back up. My balance is terrible as someone that's blind. Sweep the arms up again, palms facing out. Draw the elbows down, find that lovely lift. Lift the arms up, dive forwards over the legs, shift the hips back, find your hamstring stretch. Good, shift the weight forwards. Take that front leg back. And again, bring your big toes together. And sit back, opening out through the inner legs. breathing in through the nose. As your head, your chest drops to the floor, pushing the hips back. And exhale. Good, stretching out those inner legs just a little bit more. I'm going to swivel to face the front. Come back up onto the hands and the knees just for a second before we roll onto our back. And you can come in and out of your cat stretch again and simply stay here. Or can you extend your right leg out to the side? To just directly to the side and do your cat stretch with that leg extended. And this just allows us to get into that inner leg. Try to really lift that tailbone up. And then back the other way. And then switch to the other side. Plant the foot into the floor. Come back to those cat stretches again. And just notice how the back feels and start to become aware of how each side probably feels different. The temperature of the body and the room around you. Draw that leg back in. Sit tall, maybe give the wrists a little rotate. While we're here, keep sitting back. You can come down onto your sit bones if that feels better. But just take a moment to roll your shoulders up towards the ears and roll them down your back, letting the shoulders glide all the way down towards your sit bones. Take your head over to the right, dropping your right ear to the right shoulder. Feeling this lovely neck stretch as your shoulders stay away from the ears. And maybe take the hand on the side of that head without pulling the head down or yanking on the head. Just let the weight of the arm draw the head to the side. And then drop your chin to the chest. Interlace the hands behind your head, thumbs running down your back. And allow the elbows to fold forwards and the weight of the arms to draw the chin to the chest and feel the stretch down the back of the neck. Let your head fall to the other side, dropping your ear over to the other shoulder. This time, right ear to the right shoulder, I'm mirroring you. Hand on the side of the head if you want to. And just enjoy that lovely neck stretch. Shoulders away from the ears. And then come up, sit nice and tall. Bring yourself onto your back for the few more exercises on our back. Give yourself a big hug in. So hug your knees into your chest. Head on the floor, shoulders on the floor, and rock from side to side, back and forth, almost giving your back this lovely little massage. Maybe even circling the legs away from one another, towards one another, just really allowing those hips to release and open. You might want to rest on a pillow, a block, a book for the back of your head. Good, let the legs drop down to the floor so they're not too far away, they're not too close. The feet, the legs are, doesn't matter if they're together or not because we're going to move them. And we're going to take, so both feet are flat at the minute, knees are bent to the ceiling. Take your left leg and cross it over your right leg. So just above the ankle on your left leg is the part what's going to rest on your right thigh. You're going to try open that left knee out without your hips swiveling. So take hold of your pelvis and just let the hip bones face up to the ceiling. Flex your foot to protect the knees and allow the arms to open out to the side with the palms facing up. And maybe notice the coldness of the floor, the difference of the temperature between the floor and the mat. And then let your legs tip over to that right side. So your right foot starts to plant down into the floor. You might not be able to go all the way, and that's okay. Seeing if you can keep your knee opening out to the ceiling. Letting your upper body from your waist up stay on the mat. You can always turn your head the opposite way to the legs as well, just to enjoy that stretch. A little more around through the waist, the chest, the hips. Let's come back up. And now that back leg, that right leg, is going to hug back into your chest. But with that left leg crossed over, it's going to give you this lovely glute stretch. So maybe hold onto the shin for a deeper stretch or behind the thigh. And just breathe. Holding as long as you need to. Drop the legs down to the floor, untuck the leg. Let's do everything on the other side. So we now cross the right leg over the left. We let the knee open out. We flex the feet to protect the knees. And again, we let the arms open out by our side, back of the hands on the floor. Noticing the temperature change maybe from the mat to the floor. Let the weight shift over to that left side, planting that right foot into the floor, trying to keep the knee open. Don't worry if you can't go all the way to the floor, you just go where you can. Turning the head the opposite way if you want to. Just breathe. Come back up. Hug that back knee into your chest, your left leg into your chest, trying to keep your head on the floor. If you need to make any adjustments, maybe you keep the back leg on the floor, but you come up to the forearms or up on the arms, so you bring your upper body to you rather than the legs to the upper body. And then untuck the legs, hug your knees back into the chest, have a little rock from side to side. And we're finished with a lovely full body stretch, reaching from your fingers to your toes. Giving the ankles, the wrists a little rotate. Taking a final couple of deep breaths in. And exhales out to finish. And you are done. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you feel a little bit more energized, but in a calm way. And I will see you next week for another one. Take care. Bye.